top of the list.
Everybody's in OTAs right now. Everybody's really excited about what they're seeing with the rookies and how the veterans are starting to practice. Chargers, Justin Herbert, first series of practices with the number one unit, Jim Harbaugh's new offense with coordinator Greg Roman. He goes 16 for 17 throwing the football. He was buzzing the ball everywhere. Ladd McConkey, the draft pick out of Georgia, 3 huge receptions, 2 of them for touchdowns, running as an inside slot receiver with the number one offense. He's been pretty impressive. Junior Colson, a linebacker from Michigan. They got him teamed with the old guy, Denzel Perryman, who they brought back. And they got Mr. Outside, Mr. Inside, running everywhere, making all kinds of plays. So they're kind of excited with what they've seen in the minicamp so far. The strangest aspect, Chargers drafted Joe Alt of Notre Dame, number 1, going to be the right tackle. He did not take a snap with the number 1 unit in the first couple of practices.
Really?
They ran 4 series with the number 1 units. He was a backup. He did practice with the second group, which is kind of surprised because they had Trey Pippins, who's been there as a 3-year starter and has kind of scuffled. He's one of the lowest ranked right tackles in football. He was taking virtually all the number 1 picks. So that was really kind of a surprise with the Chargers camp. And then here's the funniest part. So Perryman, who's a vibrant personality, played at Miami of Florida, came here for a whole bunch of years and then left as a free agent. So he comes back because he's active and he's physical and he's a bit of a fiery leader. So they asked him about playing for Harbaugh. And he says, it's like watching a Will Ferrell movie. Every time Will Ferrell opens his mouth, he says, what the hell are you talking about? So that's what Harbaugh does, all these sales pitches. It's like a tent revival meeting. Every time Harbaugh opens his mouth. So Perriman says, what the hell is he talking about? I don't understand any of it. But he likes Harbaugh's track record. So that's interesting. Second team, LA Rams. They love what they drafted. Their number 1 and their number 2 picks are playing really well. The defensive end out of Florida State, the defensive tackle from Florida State, they're really pleased. Setback for the Rams, however, and this has got to be of concern. Kyron Williams, their heavy-duty running back, has a foot injury that is not healed since the end of last season. He is out of all the OTAs, and they're walking around with their fingers crossed that he'll be ready for the start of the season because they need him as a heavy-duty guy. Blake Corum, the rookie running back from Michigan, they've told him, be prepared to be a 3-down running back. You're going to run it, and we're going to throw to you.
Nice.
And you got to pick up the blitz package. But he's built like a fire hydrant. We're not talking about a bulk guy. So the Rams, a little bit concerned about the running situation. Minnesota is like Cincinnati, is like a whole bunch of teams in a league. Everybody's got money issues at wide receiver. The Divas, every one of them, John, wants $30 million a year. Salary cap obviously has gone up. Justin Jefferson, no-show, OTAs, got 1 year left on his contract, not going on the field. He wants $35 million. He wants $1 million more than the highest-paid player, non-quarterback player in the league, Nick Bosa, earning 34. He wants 35. And when he said 35, Jamar Chase in Cincinnati said 30, and he's in the same boat. Last year of the contract. Now, he's been, I think, grossly underpaid. And Cincinnati's got a second problem. T. Higgins, the franchise tag receiver, the running mate to Jamar Chase, he's refused to sign the $21 million franchise tag, and he's put up pretty doggone good numbers with Jamar Chase in Cincinnati. So suddenly, they got all these issues, Minnesota and Cincinnati. Good. Comment on Chargers, Rams, Vikes, Bengals, and money, and then we'll get to the other teams.
Okay, I mean, there's a ton here to talk about. But, I was scrolling through my social media, and you see some of these updates on the Chargers. The one that caught my attention, Justin Herbert got a haircut. Did you see that? So he's like, the girls all swoon for Justin Herbert. But what does OTA stand for, by the way?
Off-season training something or other.
Yeah. I mean, OTAs. How serious of a program are these OTAs?
Oh, the OTAs, you're not in pads. You're in helmets and shells. But the OTAs is you install everything. You do a ton of classroom work. You go out on the field for an hour, and you implement what you put in the classroom, formations and all that. So it's important for the new guys, the young guys who've never been in the whole pro concept, because they weightlift, team meetings, practice, team meetings, dinners. It's like going to class. You didn't go to class, though. Got a 3.94. Never cut class. I saw you in the bar. So the OTAs are really important. But there's no heavy contact. But you are running. You're doing a ton of cardiovascular stuff. And you do have injuries. You have ruptured Achilles have become a plague in OTA workouts because they're doing so much in terms of cardio and running like that. But OTAs are pretty impressive. And then when they finish up the OTAs is one veterans mini camp in early June. Then they take a couple of weeks off and then green light go in July. So what do you think about the money issue?
The wide receivers are divas, aren't they?
Oh.
I mean, it's totally changed. I mean, even back in the day, even there were some divas like Jerry Rice, but nowadays every team has got one or two of these guys. You know, when the salary cap goes up, you can't blame them for asking for more money. But like in the case of T. Higgins, if he's been franchised, he doesn't have any options, right? Other than sitting out
for 1 year.
Yeah, he's not going to do that. Or, well, actually, Josh Jacobs did that, didn't he?
Yeah. How'd that work out?
Not so good.
Yeah. Le'Veon Bell was a star in the making in Pittsburgh. He sat out a whole year. How'd that work out? Out of football.
No, it's like, man, take the money, bird in the hand, man.
So that's where we are there. New York Jets. Let's just talk about this situation. This story just leaked out within this last week. Aaron Rodgers says, I'm not paying any attention to it. Robert Saleh, the owner or the coach of the Jets, in the offseason, tried to hire an assistant head coach who would oversee the entire offense. His right-hand man would run the offense. Now, this comes after last year's lousy season. It comes after the coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, didn't get it done because Rodgers got hurt. It comes after Hackett failed miserably in his 1 year as head coach in Denver. And all of a sudden now, this to me is like a vote of no confidence that the Jets are trying to hire an assistant head coach, quote, over offense with Hackett beneath him. That's not a good sign. Saleh says, no, we're just trying to put together the best staff we could. Aaron Rodgers said this morning at their camp before they broke for the holiday weekend, no big thing to me. Just trust me and trust Hackett. We'll fix this. Well, they didn't fix it last year. It was a mess. And they didn't fix it, obviously, in Hackett's 1 year. So that's a big issue there. Kansas City. Rashee Rice, who caught 73 balls last year, had an unbelievable breakout season as a young star. He's got all these problems off the field. He has been allowed to practice in the Chiefs OTAs, which is kind of surprising to me. Now, of course, he's facing 8 felony counts for this bad drag racing auto accident that injured a whole series of people in Dallas. Patrick Mahomes stood up yesterday and said, we are going to take Rice under our wings, and we veterans are going to show him the way to become a better person as well as become a better professional. So they're trying to envelop this guy in bubble wrap to make better decisions. Raiders, he was great. Back in the day, he was undrafted and he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Jim Otto passed away. Legendary center.
0-0.
0-0. Cornerstone of the American Football League, aside from the great quarterbacks they had. Age 86, he had 70 surgeries in his life. They finally had to amputate his leg.
Oh my God.
Just a great warrior and a great persona and very successful businessman. And obviously, he had quite an affinity for Al Davis and vice versa. But he's passed away at age 86. He was a warrior. And the final one is Washington Commanders. You remember Daniel Snyder, removed as owner of the team, has moved to London after the disgraceful, toxic workplace environment, Washington Commanders. Anyhow, see, if you were rich and famous, you would have gone to the Cannes Film Festival too, instead of going drinking in Northern Ireland. Cannes Film Festival this week. Mm-hmm. There is a Danish documentary that's been put out on Donald Trump, and it is derogatory.
I've heard about this.
Oh, my goodness. About all the scandalous stuff he's done, including bank scams, Trump University failing, raping his first wife, went to court. All this stuff is in his, quote, documentary. And it's called The Apprentice for some reason. It's got nothing to do with the TV show. Mm-hmm. Daniel Snyder has filed a lawsuit against the documentary producer. I didn't know that Snyder was a Trump guy, but Snyder's a sleazebag. So yeah, maybe he is. Anyhow, he's filed this lawsuit, and this video is debuting this weekend. You still got time to make an airline reservation.
What's the basis of a lawsuit? It just he doesn't like it?
Derogatory, yeah.
Oh,
it paints Trump in a bad picture.
Oh, God.
Daniel Snyder. So anyhow, so you got the Jets in Kansas City and Joe Otto, and go ahead and Jim Otto, I should say, and go ahead and talk about Daniel Snyder.
The Jets situation is interesting. I mean, if you want to bring in another coach, I don't see why you can't have an assistant head coach, kind of like a bench coach in baseball, that's not really assigned to a specific thing. But yeah, if you bring a guy in to run the offense, I mean, but Saleh is a defensive guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the defensive coordinator for the Niners?
Yep.
So he's not going to have much of an offensive mind. Kansas City, I'm surprised you're not talking about the kicker, and all that controversy about when he made the speech at the commencement address at Benedictine College.
Yeah, we're talking about Harrison Butker. But again, those are one opinion. The NFL said that was done outside the circle of the NFL. He's entitled to whatever opinion he wants. It might cause some rift, I think. I don't think all Kansas City players are siding with what Butker said about women and about abortion and about COVID and the government. So I don't know where his political interests lie, but this obviously has turned some people off a little bit along the way. But the Butker thing has just kind of gone away because Patrick Mahomes said, we don't agree with his theory, but he's entitled to say it. And then the NFL said, he made that comment outside the circle of the NFL.
It's not going away.
I know.
The fans want him out. They want to get the NFL to get rid of him. And they say, oh, we don't need a kicker anyways. Get another kicker. I mean, some people are furious over this.
So that's where we are in the National Football League.